Yo, how's it going everyone? It's me, Arctic. Today's video, we're going to be going over an artifacts guide for Kujou Sara. This character is going to be in update 1.2, and so I figured we might as well get some artifacts prepped for then. So I will be talking about each of the artifacts and what kind of general build that will be better on her, either her support build, either her DPS build, or her sub-DPS build actually. In terms of Sara's basic overall kit, her elemental skill does basically create like little crow feather type things after you use like her charge attacks on enemies. And so those, when they're picked up, they give you like a little basically boost to your attack based on her base attack. That kind of stuff. That factored in a lot more when we were talking about weapons guide. However, her elemental skill is a pretty decent option if you are going for like swap in damage, that kind of stuff, using Kujou Sara as like a little elemental skill rotation type of character. And also her burst ability does cost an 80 energy cost, and it does have a pretty decent scaling, so we're going to be looking at some burst damage dealing kind of options with our artifacts today. The first set I'm going to look at is the Wanderer's Troop set. Now this one is going to be nice since Kujou Sara does focus on her charge attacks a little bit. Literally every single one of her builds she focuses on those charge attacks. So the 4-piece of this would be pretty nice, especially if you are going for like headshots. Since headshots basically have a 100% chance to crit, you don't have to worry too much about crit rate on this. It comes with Elemental Mastery, which is going to be nice because she is an electro character. And electro characters are pretty decent for some certain reactions like Overloaded, Electro Charge, Superconduct. They have some pretty good value, and the Elemental Mastery is going to boost out that reaction damage a bit more. A set that could potentially work if you are running her as your main DPS is going to be the Pale Flame set. If you are going for like a physical damage actually kind of oriented build, this set will actually work pretty good. You'll get like 50% physical damage. You possibly could run like the one craftable bow that basically increases like your physical damage as well. Since she does not have like Electro Infusion on her auto attacks, I think that would have been really cool if they made her where she had Electro Infusion. And also we don't have a character that does Electro Infusion in the game yet, so physical damage is pretty good for main DPS. Her elemental skill is on a short enough cooldown that you can activate the 4-piece bonus on this. Fury is a pretty good set to run on her regardless, because what this does is gives you 15% electro damage bonus. The 4-piece increases your elemental reaction damage by 40%, and also triggering those elemental reactions decreases your elemental skill cooldown by 1 second. So if you're running her with like a Xingqiu or something, you could end up actually spamming like your elemental skill. I think you can use her elemental skill like every 3 seconds-ish. So what you would kind of end up doing is using like a Xingqiu or like a Mona, something like that. You use Sara's elemental skill, and then what you would end up doing is using like one of her charged attacks to activate that crow feather, you know? And then you would go up towards them again, activate the elemental skill, because it would be reset with you doing basically 2 energy elemental reactions. And yeah, it could work pretty good doing that. Also, Blige Piece is also a pretty decent option to use as well if you are going for a burst damage. This is very good for like support and team support. Similar to how you would run this on like a Bennett, where when you cast your ults, you're going to be able to get like the team damage, you know. However, since Sara focuses on most of her charge attacks to actually get like crow feathers to give the attack boost, this will still work pretty good. Since her ult also does give her like that state that allows you to make crow feathers, and I think it also activates another crow feather as well. So this piece, this 4-piece can work pretty nice if you are running her as a support. Tracing Bowlight, the only reason I'm going to touch up on this is because it is going to be a little bit better and more specific than the Wanderer's Troop set. This increases your normal and charge attack damage by 40%. But yeah, so this is going to give you a little bit 5% more damage from your actual charge shot numbers. However, you do miss out on the Elemental Mastery in exchange for shield strength. So if you are using like characters like Zhongli on your team, yeah, this will end up being pretty good. Even like a Dionic, it can work as well. If you are running a Sara as a main DPS, the Thunder Soother set could actually work pretty nicely. So it increases your Electro Res. This increases your Electro Res, and it also increases the damage against opponents affected by Electro. So if you are having her as your main DPS using like charge attacks, and also I think the crow feathers do Electro damage as well. And so you're going to be able to get quite a bit of damage from this. I would also recommend this if you're running like her with a Electro mainly focused team, like Sara, Raiden Shogun, and Electro Traveler. It could actually be a pretty decent team comp to run with. Just make sure you have stuff to deal with like Electro Shields and Electro like characters, and you should end up being pretty good. If you're running her as a support, the Tenacity of the Mill set also works pretty nicely. And when your elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack of party members is increased by 20%. and also you get 30% shield strength. Can be triggered every 0.5 seconds, and it lasts for 3 seconds, so basically the same duration as her elemental skill. It'll be alright for your team rotations, I guess, and yeah, it'll also be able to affect her damage whenever she does like a charge attacks. It won't be as good really, but it's still a decent option depending on yeah, what weapon you're gonna run on her. Shimenawa's set is also a set that can work pretty well. It gives you 18% attack. She doesn't necessarily have the highest base attack. Depending on which weapon you're using though, you can get that base attack up a little bit higher. And also when casting your elemental skill, if the character has 15 or more energy, they lose that 15 energy, but their normal charge and plunging attack damage is increased by 50% for 10 seconds. So pretty nice if you are going for more of just a constant elemental skill and crow feather kind of rotation on your character. Last set is going to be this Emblem of Severed Fate set. What this set basically allows you to do is you can stack up a bunch of like energy recharge basically, and then it's going to be especially valuable since her burst cost does cost 80, which is a large amount, and if you are using her in a team with like a Radiant Shogun, yeah, 80 energy is going to be nice, especially if you can reliably cast it. Her burst does scale up pretty high, however this is going to give it an even more damage based on its elemental energy recharge basically. You're going to be able to get up to 75% bonus damage if you get her up to like 300% energy recharge. It's not necessarily worth it if you are still going for like crit stats, but yeah, overall this set could work pretty good, and it's probably what I'm going to end up running on my Sara in the future. But if you guys enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe. I definitely am going to be making like a more DPS oriented guide on Sara, and also a sub DPS guide potentially as well. And I will also finish that up with a overall general build guide, which I think is going to be the best build guide for her. And it's going to touch up on basically everything I've already covered. However, this is a more specific artifact guides, as you've already seen. I covered basically all the options that are even viable, if they could even potentially work, how you would use them more so. And so yeah, feel free to also check out my other videos. I've got plenty of videos right here. I've been basically pumping out tons of these as well. But anyway, it's been me, Arctic. I'll see you guys next time. Farewell.